Hi, my name is Tom Hanks, and I feel blank about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
You feel blank.
I love it. You don't even give hint words. Could you just put adjective in there in parentheses or something like that?
What's wrong with that?
I feel blessed to be Conan O'Brien's friend. I feel old. What year did the first year I was on SNL and you were back in, we called
1988.
I called you the Boiler Room Boys.
Yes.
It was you and Odenkirk and Smigel in the back.
The guy back in the day when I was working at SNL who was Money in the Bank and still is to this day was Mr. Tom Hanks because he would show up and
caffeinated.
There were the caffeinated, ready to go. Hey, everybody, what have you got? And I remember coming out once, and I swear to God, I think it was maybe 2 a.m. Most hosts, they hang around a little bit. They sense the sadness, the desperation. They smell the odors, and they leave, and then they come refreshed at read-through. I came out and there's this giant, in the conference room, there's this big table and you were sitting there and you had been working on your own idea.
Oh, God,
and you were lying on, they had shoved all the tables together. You were lying on the tables like Christ with some pages over your eyes because you were trying to catch a couple of winks before you woke up and got back to writing at 3 a.m.
I'd always heard that was the great power of the hang, that you got there an all night Monday and all night Tuesday. You're going from, now they kind of take the hosts around and they usher, but I want to get in there and mix it up, because here's one thing I learned about maybe the third time I did the show. You say, hey, you're the host. I say, hey, I have some ideas for some sketches, and every writer goes, well, that's just great.
Oh, my God.
You have ideas that will rob us of the opportunity to get our ideas read. How wonderful. And I would like to say, I don't think, you then learn that, look, you're the host. Concentrate on the monologue and then walk away. But it's a great hang, man. Everybody's carrying on. And
yeah, it's amazing to me that, again, I've had this experience at The Simpsons. I've had it at Saturday Night Live. I've had it places where I worked there and as I left thought, this probably has a little bit of time left. I remember thinking that at The Simpsons, this is going great. I bet you they got a couple more years, but I think I'll step off now and get it. Or the same thing with SNL. I remember thinking, this is great, but the idea that when I got there, I get there in 88, I'm there only 13 years after it begins.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking at the wall and it's black and white photos of Aykroyd, Belushi, and it looked to me like Civil War photographs.
Yeah, right.
It looked to me like the oldest.
Daguerreotypes.
Yes, oh my God, the olden times. Now, if someone says, hey, let's look at Conan's first year, 1988 as a writer, that
looks
is on a
ancient.
Giant 1.5-inch brick.
Yeah.
That someone has to put into a machine they don't.
There was a period of time where to watch TV, you needed a $8,000 video deck that had more moving parts than the cars we drove to Conan Land today. Absolutely. But this remained. I went to the Joni Mitchell jam at Hollywood. My wife Rita was singing along with everybody, and I sat next to Fred Armisen. And we compared notes on how many, listen, I'm a guy who grew up in a house without any women. I know 4 Joni Mitchell songs. They're going to sing 32 of them tonight. I'm going to love it. It's like going to the opera. It's great. But I asked him, because I completely appreciate it. I'm an absolute fan. But I asked him that question that I always, you're trying to say, anytime somebody has retired, I said, when you left the show, did you know that it was time to leave the show? Or, 5 months later, do you start getting cold sweats at the same time you got cold sweats? Do you start writing things? Yeah. And God bless anybody who is a really great thing. They said, no. After all my time there, it was time to move along. Because I come from that school of, you do not walk away from a gig if they are inviting you to come and be funny, make sandwiches, sharpen pencils, have an idea, or I don't walk away from that gig. But I guess after a while it devours you, and you got to go along. Or did you get fired, Conan?
Did Leno came and took my writing job at SNL?
Yeah, did you get this? Here's a note from Lauren. Let me open it up. Conan, thank you for all your service. We're not going to.
No, I burnt out.
I was
and Lauren could not have been nicer. I said, this is a couple of years before he contacted me about the late night show, but I was burnt out, and I said, I've got to go. And that's when I went to The Simpsons. I wish I could go back in time. People always say no regrets. I regret
nothing but.
I regret being so intense about that job.
Yeah,
I was way too intense, and I think I robbed myself of some fun that I could have had. I did have a lot of fun, but I think I could have had more fun, and I think I could have maybe written there a little longer if I didn't make it such a grind for myself.
Well, people have asked me what is it about, and I think the creative atmosphere of that is the writer is on the floor producing the piece, and that's not standard stuff. A guy who wrote it with great passion is over there in between sweating bullets and vomiting out of anxiety. He's telling Sting how to do a comedy bit, say, could you make, but I think that's the great power of it. You get to produce the thing that you wrote then and there.
The thing that Lauren does that's brilliant, that I didn't exist anywhere else. I'd only worked about 3 years in television before that, but no one had let me near anything. You get to SNL, you write a sketch, and Steve Martin's going to be in it. And Lauren says, well, go in and tell Steve how it should be done and what you're thinking, and then go and talk to the props people about how the restaurant should look. And I thought, I'm 26. I've never been to a restaurant. I don't know. And I remember Lauren once saying to me, what restaurant are we in here?
You bought fast food, but it's sort of actually sitting down.
Remember you did a sketch that a couple of us did called Mr. Short-Term Memory.
Oh, God, yeah.
And so we wrote the sketch, Mr. Short-Term Memory, and Lauren called me in and he said, what restaurant are we in? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, are we in Orso? Are we at Elaine's? And I don't know what those are. And I said the worst thing you could say to Lauren. I said, it's a restaurant like in a Carol Burnett sketch. Immediately, 9 assistants took me out of the room.
Wow.
Lauren was immediately anesthetized.
Not that she isn't a legend.
I just thought restaurant, like big menu. Okay. Snooty waiter.
Now, by the way, it is a you do have to learn how to survive physically when you do the show. And the last time I did it, I told everybody who was in charge of me, particularly our wardrobe and stage manager people, I said, I want you to understand that my goal on this week's hosting duties is to take as few steps as possible. So I am going to come here, and I will get dressed. And where can we get dressed next time? Because I don't have to walk all the way back here. I'm going to take as few.
I've noticed that you were sitting in most of your sketches.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that as much as possible. Because look, it's a young man's game, and there was a time that you just, it's just balls to the walls, and you just fill up every minute with activity. No. Take it easy, Tom.